The man we're going to speak about tonight is a man from recent days. He is not far removed from our time. He died not that long ago. He is known for being a preacher, a pilot, and a pastor. He is the mentor of the man who mentored me, Pastor Clark. This man's name is Lester Roloff, and he is the rescuer of hundreds of children and a prevailing hero in the independent fundamental Baptist movement. Very controversial figure as well, and you'll find out why in just a few moments. Lester was born in 1914 in Dawson, Texas. And it's the picturesque country family. It was a Christian family. He would milk cows while reciting the Sermon on the Mount and the Lord's Prayer. And so he was raised in a great Christian home, had abundant Christian knowledge. And when he got to his young adult life, he had gotten saved, and he got a call to preach. And after he pursued that call through education, he became the pastor of the Second Baptist Church of Corpus Christi, Texas. And I'm trying to say that, it's so difficult. Listening to Pastor Clark talk about it, it's also kind of hard. Like, what exactly is the name? What town did you go to? It's strange, but Corpus Christi, Texas. He is known for pastoring his church, the Second Baptist Church there. He is known for starting the Family Altar radio program, which is still active today. They have an app. Sometimes I listen to it while I'm going to work. And he's known for starting his rescue homes. His ministry is characterized by starting not so much halfway houses, but I think the term is well given, rescue homes. He had boys' homes, he had girls' homes, and drug addicts, not disgruntled, but let's say delinquent children, and he would take them in and completely reform them, give them structure. He worked with, if you will, the bottom of the barrel, the scum of the bucket, the rejected ones, the down and out ones, the ones who have almost completely given themselves over to the evil one, to Satan. And he was there rescuing them. If you listen to Pacific Garden Mission and their radio program, Unshackled, there is more than one story about someone who's been abused or somebody who's been in the clutches of addiction being rescued by Lester Roloff. Perhaps one of the biggest things he's known for is going to prison. Lester Roloff had went to prison on actually a couple different occasions. When you listen to John R. Rice or Peter Ruckman, you listen to their sermons, their days, they talk a lot about Lester Roloff. He was such a big figure in the movement. And the reason why he went to prison is he refused to license his care homes, his rescue homes. He refused to license them with the Human Resource Department of Texas, and he refused to conform to their regulations. Reminds me a lot of the author of The Pilgrim's Progress, John Bunyan. Is that correct? John Bunyan? Same kind of deal, refusing to get state control into his ministry. Lester said this: the government didn't give me this ministry, and the government can't take it away. And so there's multiple times where he was called into court, and he was threatened with prison. And to that he said this: if I have to choose between preaching and prison, I'll take preaching in prison. And so that's what he got sent there several times. He served several sentences, not lasting but a few days each time. It was not long sentencing. It was more for just his defiance. It wasn't the long carried out sentencing. And I'll speak more about that in a moment, but I just want to say about his death. He died tragically in a plane crash. As I mentioned, he's a pilot, a pastor, and a preacher. He died in a plane crash with his singing group on an evangelism tour, and the year of his death was 1982. And he was flying through a horrendous storm, and that eventually brought the plane down and killing him and the singing group that was traveling with him. I'll say this about him: there's a couple famous stories in his life. One of them is fulfilling that quote that I just said, preaching in a jailhouse. When Texan authorities demanded that Lester Roloff shut down his homes or submit them to state licensing, he refused and was held in contempt of court. Rather than pay a fine or comply, he chose jail. And while he was in jail, he preached in jail. And when the guards told him to quiet down, he replied, "I'm here for preaching, and I'll keep doing it." Other inmates and even some guards were converted during his time in lockup. And when asked why he wouldn't license the homes, he said, "The state didn't give me these children, and the state can't tell me how to raise them." There's another moment as far as with the legislators of Texas goes, when he was dealing with the magistrates there, when he was in a courtroom. There's a quote when he's in a courtroom that said, "Let me finish my sermon." And it was during one of his many courtroom appearances where he was defending his ministry. Brother Roloff refused to sit quietly. Instead, he began preaching in court, quoting scripture, denouncing government overreach. And when the judge tried to stop him, saying, "This is a courtroom, not a church," Lester Roloff replied, "I'll stop preaching when you stop violating God's law." He was held in contempt, but walked out smiling, singing hymns as he was led away to prison. You don't really see many guys like this nowadays. There's another example of when he was trying to build additions to his home, the dormitories. Roloff refused to take any government money or go into debt to build his ministries. That's an amazing thing. You think about trying to do something like build a rescue mission, a rescue home, rehabilitation homes, and he wanted to build it debt-free. And he had that conviction, and he followed it out. While building one of his dormitories, the contractors demanded he pay more money, but he didn't have any left. Because he was going through this process of doing it debt-free, he didn't have any extra funds to expend, and they were going to halt construction on it if he didn't pay by this certain time. Well, Roloff, he got on his knees, started praying, and the next day a check arrived in the mail from a small Baptist church, it's always those small churches, across the country for the exact amount he needed, down to the penny. And he often said, and I've heard this from Pastor Clark several times, God's business done God's way will never lack God's supply. There was another instance where they were trying to shut down his girls' home, and there was a demonstration of the alumni of that home at the Texas Capitol. During a critical legislative hearing on whether to shut down Roloff's homes, over 300 girls from the Rebecca home showed up at the Texas Capitol. They lined the building, singing hymns and quoting scripture. The spectacle drew massive media attention, and reporters noted how clean, modest, and joyful the girls looked. Many testified before the legislature, telling stories of being rescued from drugs and crimes and suicide. Legislators admitted that shutting down the homes didn't seem so simple anymore. And this last one is pretty wild. I don't really call this a prophecy necessarily, but it reflects the spirit of Lester Roloff and how God gifted him his parting from this earth according to his spirit. Not long after his death in 1982, Roloff told his congregation, "When I die, I want to die preaching, flying, or singing." Lester Roloff was flying on his way to a preaching and singing meeting. And that is exactly how he died. November 2nd, 1982, Lester Roloff and 4 teenage girls from the Honeybee Singing Group boarded his small plane. Then they were headed to a revival meeting. They hit a storm and the plane crashed near Hamanji, Texas, and all 5 were killed instantly. Of course, it's a tragic story, but fitting that he died on the way to preach with singers at his side, likely singing gospel songs in the air. So he's a man steeped in controversy. Many would say how he ran the homes was borderline abuse, but the people who said that were often the outside. And the alumni who came out of it would have an overwhelming testimony of it being something that changed their life and move them to pursue God in their life. And so I'm thankful for his ministry. Obviously, I am in some ways a fruit of his ministry. I never met the man, don't know the man at all, but the man who impacted my life the most came out of Lester Roloff. And so fruit from his fruit, and we're benefiting from that today by this church and by my life. And so I thank the Lord for men like Lester Roloff. I don't know them. I'd like to. I'm excited to know them in heaven. But I want that same mentality. As I say this so many times about the saints of old, a lot of them died with their boots on. And that's exactly how I want to go out. I want to leave with nothing left. I want to die with my boots on. And that's Lester Roloff.